we're going to talk about the current real estate market right now in Calgary. We'll go over these numbers here. The percentages haven't really changed since the beginning of the year. Now we always highlight the total sales, the active listings, and the average price. If you look at Calgary's average price for April, it is 608,416. We've got that highlighted, and that's a 11% increase over April of 2023. And into May here, we're only 7 or 8 days into May right now, but we're still seeing a 12% increase over May of 2023. So what we see is the price trend that we started in right when we got out of COVID is continuing. We saw it flatten out in Toronto and Vancouver because their prices got so high. It's sort of, they reached a peak, but we're even seeing them start to turn around and increase as well. But with these increases and us finally over a 600 average, now this is for every property type in Calgary, it's not just single family homes. So our average is over 600 now.
Yeah.
And when we were in the depths of COVID there, we figured our average price in Calgary should be around 650. And it's going to hit there soon, probably later this year or early next year.
Yeah. So what does that look like for realtors like ourselves out there buying properties for our clients? We can tell you we took a run at a property in Hidden Valley. And Hidden Valley is one of those communities that we normally wouldn't go into. We're working with a buyer. He's onto his 4th property right now. He's done a couple of JVs and he's bought 2. He's probably onto his 5th property right now. Young guy. He's on our YouTube channel, Calgary Real Estate Wealth. Daniel, his name is. Last property he bought, he actually didn't even see it. We just bought it for him. And when clients work with us, they understand. Tim, you just bought down in Auburn Bay a condo for a doctor in Kamloops that understands our system, how we choose our properties, and they didn't even do a FaceTime video.
And they still haven't been in town. So
so they just buy it through us. Anyway, Daniel went after another one in Hidden Valley. We would have had to go in this one and suite it. It was a finished basement. It was a walkout in Hidden Valley. It came on for 485. We knew straight away that it was going to go over. There was multiple offers. I think there was 8 offers at the end of the day. We went in at 551, $20,000 deposit. We only had a property inspection condition, and we still didn't get it. And so that went, what's that, 65,000 over list, and we still didn't get it. So you know what? And we had to cut it off because we know what the rents are for this property, and the rents just wouldn't cover if we went any higher from what he wanted to do. He still had to go in there and spend. Him, we put a budget of $60,000. So when we're looking at doing the BRRRR strategy and fitting out a suite, and if you want to add value to a property, adding a suite is one of the best ways to do it. But this property was a rental for many years. We had to go in, renovate the kitchen upstairs, the bathroom, all of the flooring, repaint. We had to do some decking, and then we had to put legalize the basement suite and put the kitchen in. So we budgeted that with our contractors at $60,000. And when you add that to the $551,000, it takes you over that cash flow threshold. And Daniel's going on to his 5th property. And if we did that, that would have impacted him buying more properties down the road. So we always want to help our investors continue to grow, continue to cash flow. It is important, depending on what your income level is at. But for kids that are starting off, Tim, we've done tremendous work with the young kids getting in there, house hacking, buying properties, upgrading those properties, and continuing to buy. It's the best way to invest today.
Yeah, and speaking to those multiple offers, as I was talking about, if you look at the active listings, right now we're down to under 3,000 active listings. Now, when you take these CREB stats, when they put these stats out, that also includes the pending listings. So there's probably about 1,200 pending listings. So the actual amount of active listings is very, very few. And it's not just in the high quality properties, the suite of properties where we're seeing multiple offers. We're seeing it all across the board. We're working with another young girl who her price range, her max is 340. And we went after a small townhouse in Oak Ridge. It was listed at 260. We went 45,000 over and we still didn't get it. So and we were up against 8 other offers. So we're seeing those multiple offers in every property type, and it's a direct reflection of our low supply.
Yeah, so you know what, getting back to the categories there, as Tim was saying, 3,000 listings, you take off 800 pending,
8 to
and then
1,200.
8 to 1,200, and then you take off another 800 to 900 or to 1,000 condos. So there's very little in detached homes, and this is driving the condo market. The condo market is going to see the biggest increase it's seen in many, many years. And if you've been following us for the last 10 years on these seminars, you would know that we were staying away from condos for many years because we had an oversupply issue. We're actually hearing that Toronto has an oversupply issue right now. And we're actually hoping, we're talking to someone in the room, that tradespeople from there will actually head west and help us build more properties here, because it's what we need. And this lag of inventory isn't going to fix itself anytime soon. This is going to go on for 3 to 5 years. Come on in, it's all good. There's seats up the back. 3 to 5 years. So we're here for some good times in Calgary. And the difference this time around, it's not an oil boom, it's a population boom. Okay, and we've got nowhere to put these people. Yes, they are building a lot of rental units, but the rental units they're building brand new, they rent 2-bedroom, 2-bath, starting at $2,300-2,400. At $2,300-2,400, you can turn around and do what Tim is saying with this young girl, Cassie, that we're working with, and get a small townhouse and own for the same price. So these young people are smart these days. They're going to say, why am I going to rent? Let's buy. The townhouse market's going to go through the roof. They're saying the average is $450 right now. That average is going to go up another 50,000, another 60,000. We're involved in a development in Okotoks right now, brand new townhouses that we know our investors can buy off the plan and flip out in a year's time when they're completed, and make a killing off them just by flipping out pre-construction. So that's what's coming to Calgary. The condo market will continue for a couple of reasons. One is the affordability range. 2 is the rent we just talked about. Rents are the same price as buying. And 3, the prices for these condos downtown, if we're talking about condos, those prices were already there. We're just not there yet. So you could pick up 2-bedroom, 2-bath condos for $360, $380, $400. Those condos in the boom back in 2008 to 2010 were selling well above that, maybe still $80,000 to $100,000 above that. And the high-end condos, which we're buying some of our executives in the West End, Eau Claire Market, places like that, some of those condos were $800,000-900,000, those penthouses, and they dropped to we were buying them for $400,000. They dropped all the way down, and now they're coming all the way back. So if you want to make money in Calgary, there's definitely opportunity.
Yeah, so we'll move on to our next slide, which is basically a city comparison. There's Calgary's average right now, 608. Compare that to Vancouver and Toronto, we're at half the price of where they are right now. And if you go back to the early 2000s, when we started up, when Azad and I were investing, we weren't realtors at that time, the average price for Toronto and Calgary were exactly the same. It was right around 400,000.
Yeah.
That was about 22 years ago. So can we get there? Probably. Can we get there right away? No. But what we see happening is Calgary's average price at least getting to 750 within the next 3 to 5 years. So anybody owning real estate in this market, in the Alberta market in particular, we're going to see huge equity gains. Let alone your mortgage pay down that your tenants are going to be doing for you. We'll go through the 3 rates of return that we're expecting in Calgary. But just looking at these prices, if people in Toronto are paying 1.2 that's their average price, surely we have a long way to go. And then you see Edmonton's price, they're quite a bit lower. Edmonton is a different market. There's more blue collar workers, more multifamily, more small multifamily, 6 plexes, 8 plexes, 10 plexes. So it has a different property mix than Calgary and a different income level as well.
Yeah, and just getting back to these numbers here, when we met with the CMHC economist, he was basically telling us that there's never been such a big gap like we have right now between Toronto Vancouver, and Calgary. It's never been this big. So what that tells us, and we're already seeing it, there's net migration charts that you guys can follow. What we're seeing and coming from Sydney, Australia, I've seen this when I was investing back then in the early 90s. We've got cities like Hobart, Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide. All those cities were cheap areas, right? And guess what happened to those areas? Melbourne, Sydney got so expensive, boom, everyone moved out and all those areas went up. And we definitely see, and this is our gut feeling, we're talking about it today, Tim saying we're going to get to 650 in 3 to 5 years. The Calgary average should be around 850,000. We don't know when it's going to get there, but we know it's going to get there just because those big cities, you know, I was in Toronto, was it last month? I don't know who wants to live there. It's a concrete jungle. I mean, there must be nice parts of Toronto. We're going to get calls after this, but you know what? Calgary is a beautiful place. It's a safe city. It's got the infrastructure. It's got hospitals. It's got the transit. It's got everything in place to handle it except a new hockey arena. So that's what we're waiting on. But Calgary's going to go a long way. And we believe eventually it should be up around 850,000. And that's still way cheaper than places like Vancouver and Toronto.